This video is brought to you by GameMaker. And if you've ever wanted to get into game development, GameMaker does this really crazy thing where it's free. Just start making and only pay when you want to release your game to the world commercially.
It's fast, it's user-friendly, and there's easy-to-follow tutorials, plus a dedicated community to help answer even my questions. How make man jump? GameMaker is a 2D game engine that's helped bring some of yours and my favorite recent experiences to life, like UFO 50, Chicory, Anton Blast, and of course, Yahtzee's own Starstruck Vagabond.
Ooh, are we talking about GameMaker? I love that program, it's so easy to use. As well as Starstruck Vagabond, I also used it to make all 12 projects in my 12 games in 12 months Dev Diary challenge. And I couldn't believe how much sex I got out of that. None. I got none at all. Which I couldn't believe.
So what are you waiting for? Head on over to the GameMaker link in the description and start cracking away today, because we want to play your game.
Yeah, looking through this list, I'm seeing one of you made Armpit Fart Tycoon, and I've got several questions for you.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Windbreakers podcast. I'm Yahtzee Crowshaw. I'm joined by Marty and Jay as always.
Hey up.
And this week we are talking about the gaming syllabus. Now this is an interesting idea Marty proposed on the company Slack, which is if we had to explain the concept of video games to some kind of bizarre space alien or hermit who had perhaps been living in a cave since the 1970s, what 5 games would we choose to get them caught up on the concept?
Yeah, these are distinctly not our favorite games. These are not. Yeah.
How to summarize gaming as a whole. And I personally have not opted for my personal favorite games, except maybe in one case, but we'll get into that. But I'll tell you right away one game I'm not putting on my list: Kingdom Hearts. Because frankly, I'm fucking sick of thinking about Kingdom Hearts. You might have noticed some Kingdom Hearts accoutrement on the video already, because I just put out a special video that I made on that's exclusive to Patreon subscribers. It's out on the Patreon right now. It's a special video that I had an idea for, in which I read aloud a summary of the Kingdom Hearts narrative from the first game to the last, and offer my thoughts as I go through. And it, as you might expect, it came to about an hour and a half. So if you like having something to listen to, that's a nice thing you could look at if you're a Patreon subscriber.
Yeah, if you're
and also a good reason to
tier above.
And a good reason to join the Patreon, I would think.
It's about 90 minutes long. Yeah. And I like the fact that your apathy / disdain for the series was paired with Jesse Schwab's love of the series in putting in goofs and edits on the back end. So I feel like that was a nice little melding there.
Nice meld,
I deliberately gave it to Jesse to judge it up with game footage and stuff, and I gotta say he went above and beyond.
He judged.
What's
beyond
he always does.
One step beyond a judge. A super
He's the judge master.
I think it's a is the step beyond a judge.
Is that a back of the mouther?
Oh my god.
Yes, that was a back of the mouth roll. But anyway,
that was a Chewbacca mouther.
Well, since I'm the talky one, why don't we start with my first entry on my list? Now, I wanted to have a first-person shooter. My first thought was to put in something like Doom, but then I thought, wait, Doom's all billboard sprites and no room over room. So then I thought maybe Quake, because Quake was the first 3D shooter. But I still didn't think that Quake was, strictly speaking, representative of shooters as they are presently.
Right.
So reluctantly, I have gone for the original Halo.
Oh!
Nick, wake up. Halo is on the syllabus!
Yes, I had a feeling Nick would wake up if we brought up Halo. Halo is a console shooter. It's a first-person shooter. You point at the monsters, you shoot at them. It summarizes the concept of first-person shooters in a nice, understandable environment. And also, if we are going with the scenario that we're teaching computer games to aliens, this will help them not get any funny ideas.
Oh, I like that too. I like couching a second meaning in there.
Imagine sitting down the flood to learn games, and they're like, "Oh shit, you kill us."
Don't get started, because this is what we'll fucking do.
Oh my god.
It's hard for me to argue with that in terms of how kind of revolutionary it was for shooters, especially in the console space. And it does have that melding of single player and multiplayer. You could teach them. Sometimes humans like to get together and murder each other in digital facsimiles of life.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a really, really good choice. I too have a shooter on the syllabus, but it is not Halo. It is something that I wanted to introduce the aliens to the idea of specifically some single player and multiplayer elements, but also the concept of war. So instead of going to something that was in like a sci-fi setting, I went for Battlefield 4,
Okay.
which is
Interesting.
arguably the best Battlefield game to date. They peaked and they've been going downhill ever since. Battlefield 1 was pretty good. But I feel it has a really good element of progression in its multiplayer system, using different vehicles, jets, different types of weapons, and also the environment is completely destructible. So it's just introducing these aliens kind of in the opposite idea to Yahtzee, is teaching them about war and destruction and pain and suffering.
Which are, again, human, very, very human things that they're going to have to learn
Yeah.
if they're just visiting our society for the first time.
Interesting pick.
yeah.
I tend to be down on Battlefield. I tend to think of it as just the thing that's not Call of Duty these days. Although I remember
These
playing
days for sure, but that's why I picked 4, because 4
Right.
was its glory days, and now
Also,
it's
I
kind
think-
of devolved into not.
And aside
Cool.
from like the Bad Company games, I feel like Battlefield was always a multiplayer first thing, whereas like early
Yeah.
Call of
Yeah.
Duty had, Modern Warfare and everything had amazing campaigns. So maybe
Yes.
that's why you just never really clung to it.
Battlefield very specifically is all about that huge number of players multiplayer where you can't strategize for shit.
Mhm.
Everything's just a big chaotic free for all. Then at the end, somebody wins and you pretend that means something.
Sure.
That's spoken truly like someone who doesn't play Battlefield.
Well, you're probably right. All right, Marty, how are we kicking off on your list?
Somehow I have technically 0 shooters on my list, but I wanted to do sort of chronologically. I wanted to represent the growth of video games. I tried doing one from each decade, and I kind of flubbed that a little bit. But to represent the early days of gaming, especially as a foil for where it would eventually go, as we can see on the art, I chose the original Super Mario Brothers.
Okay.
As an early example, it feels to me like when I took film history classes in college and stuff, that in order to better understand the present, you need to kind of have a firm knowledge of the past.
Right.
And to me, Mario feels like a game that is not so archaic as a thing like Pong or an early arcade game, but contains a lot of the same DNA that would be in games for the following 40, 50 years. Yeah. So, and as we saw from our episode of Battle Masters, I just feel like the game is still very playable. The game does hold up quite well.
Well,
Yeah.
I suppose. But I had very similar thoughts, and I also wanted to represent retro platforming, and I also chose a Mario game, but it wasn't Super Mario Brothers 1.
Sabatier.
The third game on my list was Super Mario Brothers 3.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Yes, because
Hail
Super Mario
Satan.
Brothers is all very well, but I feel like that's like saying you need to play Super Mario Brothers 1 to appreciate gaming is like saying you have to watch Citizen Kane to appreciate film. If you actually go back and watch Citizen Kane, it's kind of a slog.
Everyone who says that is insane to me, because I think Citizen Kane is crazy watchable. I believe Jack says the same thing too. And
I want to say there's a lot of, I guess you could call them quality of life improvements that movies have had since Citizen Kane.
Well,
And for my
it's
mind-
pacing, yeah.
For
We
my
can talk
mind,
Citizen Kane all day.
Mario Brothers 3, in having the same Mario formula, but now you can go back and forth on the levels and all the extra stuff like the map screens and the variety of pickups and the general better visual presentation would give you a much firmer grounding in the concepts of 2D platforming and in the evolution of games in general.
That's a good pick.
Do you prefer Mario 3 over Mario World?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would say yes. Yes, I think I prefer Mario 3 of the two.
Yeah. It's really good. Both of them are fucking tense in my mind.
They're stellar games.
Yeah. I mean, who can forget that first moment they saw the map screen and all the trees are dancing to the music?
It's real good. It's real good.
Classic.
And you just get in a boot. I don't even know why I'm in this boot, but I'm in it.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
you got a boot
The boot.
now. Well, I didn't even know
That's
I could
big.
get in a boot, but now I'm in a fucking boot, and it officially makes me the most unstoppable warrior on the battlefield.
Yeah, one of my picks too is a Mario game, but it is the original Super Mario Bros. But Marty said it so perfectly, I couldn't have said it better myself. So
yeah.
That's one of my votes.
What about like the original arcade Mario Brothers before it was Super?
That game kind of sucks in my mind.
Yeah, but added advantage to Super Mario Brothers 3, there's a hidden version of that game you can play in Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah, I also thought about doing some little cheaty picks and doing like, Super Mario Brothers All Stars, the cart that also came with World, but I didn't want to. And we'll talk about it later. I'm sure maybe a couple of us thought about another game
like
that is also famous for
Marvel versus Capcom Mega Mix or some shit. Like,
what if I just do an emulator that has every game on it? Think about that.
Oh my god.
So Jay, you said Super Mario Brothers was another one of your picks. Your second pick?
Yes, that'll be my second pick. Yeah.
My second pick. I jumped forward quite a ways through history. I completely skipped the 90s, which part of me fucking hates because I love gaming in the 90s. I skipped all the way. I didn't have a first-person shooter per se, but I went with Portal as an example of the deep-seated humor in humanity, as well as one of the greatest examples of sort of puzzles and outside-the-box thinking in games. This is my only representation of actual like puzzle solving and whatnot, and my only first person game. But I feel like between its thinky mechanics and its extremely funny script, I feel like it does a good job of representing sort of a high watermark for what we want games like this to be.
Yeah, I guess it being such a high watermark is what disqualifies it for me as something representative of all gaming. That reminds me of that story about when they were putting together stuff for the disc they were going to shoot into space. And someone said, well, what music should we put on it? And someone else said, Bach. And the first person said, no, that would just be showing off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's a good representation. It's the puzzle games. I surprisingly, now that you've mentioned this, do not have a puzzle game on my list.
I do.
But if I was to have one, it would have been probably this.
Interesting. I have a puzzle game, although it's kind of weird to think of it as a puzzle game. I guess it is a puzzle game, but I guess I think of it more of as a cerebral thinky game. And that game is Return of the Obra Dinn.
Ooh.
Which
that's a puzzle game. I would say that's a puzzle game.
Yeah.
I get. Well, when you say puzzle game, I think of something more like Portal, or that thing on the Amiga where you were an ant pushing over tiles. I don't know why my mind went there.
It's a great ant.
Pushover, it was called. Obra Dinn is puzzly, but in the sense of being a detective and having to deduce the course of events by going over past events. It's not like a contrived puzzle the way like a Rubik's Cube is. And I like Obra Dinn because it demonstrates not only a huge wing of gameplay styles, puzzling and cathartic and point and click and adventuring and all that sort of thing, but it also demonstrates the incredible potential for video game as an alternative method of storytelling, because it also represents what I've called immersion narrative, the way video games can tell a story, getting away from classic linear trappings of beginning, middle, end, and just by sort of plunking you into the middle of it and leaving you to put the pieces together.
Yeah, the pacing is kind of derived from the player's actions rather than the pacing of, like you said, the beginning, middle, end. Yeah,
yes.
I think an alien would struggle to actively play that game. It's very difficult to get a hold of it.
Are we that married to the format? I'm assuming these aliens have the basic ability to,
they
pick
have
up a mouse.
They have thumbs.
Yeah.
They have thumbs and logic centers. I think Obra Dinn also is a good choice because it feels like a foil to something like Halo or Battlefield 4 or some of the things we'll mention later on that are built by massive teams of people. Like, this is like, hey, this medium, a single person can set out and make something amazing on this show. To be able to kind of show the breadth of what's possible, I think is important.
Speaking of breadth,
it resembles old Mac games.
Yes. Okay, so we're hitting that genre.
Yeah. It made me think of, there was a game I played at school once, like when it was my turn for the school computer, that was sort of like Oregon Trail, but it was Columbus's Voyage. You had to manage all the stuff on the ship, and it had like even similar graphics to Return of the Obra Dinn, so that's what gave it a sort of nostalgic flair for me as well.
Well, that's neat.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I had a cool segue, but it got.
Oh, no, I heard your breath segue. I think I understood where you were going.
Yeah, Eric has reminded me that one of my picks one of its genres is puzzle. So one of my picks is Breath of the Wild.
Okay, there we go.
Because yeah.
It's funny. I was reflecting on this the other day. Up until Breath of the Wild came out, every time you saw like best games of all time lists, Ocarina of Time would always be like in at least the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
But since Breath of the Wild came out, no one talks about Ocarina of Time anymore. Now it's all Breath of the Wild in it being the token Zelda game in the top 5 best games of all time.
Yeah, well, because as revolutionary as Ocarina of Time is, if you go back and look at it, it's kind of jank, right? But that's because it was the first 3D adventure game ever made, right? It's bound to be jank. But Breath of the Wild is where they've really kind of solidified this genre. They pushed the industry forward, like as much as people like to dog on Nintendo. They really, really revolutionized open world gaming and exploration, and the self-contained puzzles within it, and the way it allows you to freely go at it at your own pace. And I think in a similar way to Obra Dinn, it allows you to tackle its narrative and its challenges, one in your own way and at your own pace. And I think that is a really good introduction to just open world games in general for these fun aliens.
And it's I think the best example of anything we've chosen so far of like true player freedom. Which is something that's so important.
It pushes the medium forward by taking it back in a way, in that it's sort of an open world modeled after the way the very first Zelda on the NES was open world, as in literally go anywhere whenever you want.
Yeah, this was that it did not make my short list. It was on my pre-short list. It was on my list of 10, and then I pared it down, which again is proof these are not my favorite games. These are just the ones.
Right. I didn't think of it, to be honest. What's your third pick, Marty?
My third pick, I did want an open world game to represent obviously that player freedom and everything. And I ended up going with Red Dead Redemption 2 as an example.
That's on my list.
Oh, hell yeah, hell yeah! As what I think is one of the best written games ever, and I do think one of the best examples of the open world formula. I think it's what Rockstar kind of set out to do with Grand Theft Auto 3. I really do think was refined and sort of calcified and is turned into something kind of beautiful and unforgettable in my mind in Red Dead 2. I feel like it is going to age better than any Rockstar game in terms of it's not hinging on like pop culture references and everything like that. And I do think it's like emotional arc is something that will be that will resonate with anyone who plays it at any time.
Yes.
I love that.
I think it's a game of great moments, but I still think it's a little bit boring in like the moment to moment experience.
Yeah. I feel like that's a feature and not a bug in my mind.
Well, fair enough. I mean, if you could just say it's like world building, I still think the sandbox wouldn't have suffered for being like 2/3 the size. So the commutes weren't so bloody long between when you had to get to places.
I will agree with that. Like Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead 1 is like my second favorite game of all time. Red Dead 2 is fucking art. Like it's historical art. It should be studied. It's the way it depicts
is in the syllabus for the aliens.
Right, exactly. The way it depicts its narratives is, from what I know, very accurate to old American history. Its narratives, when you actually get to it, and Yahtzee's criticism is very valid. There's lots of riding from point to point, but when you actually get down to it in Arthur Morgan's story and his arc, depending on how you, the player, want to take it, is moving. Like it's one of like a handful of games that has actually made me cry.
Oh, yeah,
like it's
genuinely
incredibly moving. Yeah. And for me, it's in there for story. It's for storytelling and how you can tell human experience through gameplay.
Oh yeah.
Well, funnily enough, I also have a Rockstar open world on my list that's not Red Dead
Ooh.
Redemption 2.
Bully?
No, but I was sort of going in the opposite direction to you guys. This was the last game I picked from my list, because I looked at my list up to that point and thought, right, now I just need something that basically covers everything else. We just need like a sort of spackle. We just spread over that will just fill all the remaining gaps. And the game I picked for that is Grand Theft Auto Online.
Mhm.
This also establishes, as previously mentioned, humanity's tendency to be shitty to each other. You can learn that in both the plot and the way other players behave in that game.
Yeah.
And it's also full of interesting satire of contemporary culture, which could also fill in the aliens pretty well on everything they need to know to defeat us as a species.
Man, I'm
And,
really surprised
yeah.
this is on your list, and I'm happy it is, as someone who absolutely adores Grand Theft Auto Online. I think, your reasons are peak.
It's the only thing. Well, okay, it's like the only major thing that's got a major multiplayer element on my list. Because
It's also-
we got to put it in somewhere. It's a big part of gaming.
Yeah. It's also it's a great example of a thing that extends outside of games. There's a movie that played at a bunch of festivals last year, and I think is coming out on VOD very very soon. I'm putting a link to it called Grand Theft Hamlet.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's a documentary about two out of work actors during the pandemic who decided to try to mount a full scale production of Hamlet inside of Grand Theft Auto Online. And so just the idea that this game like had the kind of the structure and foundation to be able to even hold something like that, I think is pretty astounding.
How long did it take before some git came along with a rocket launcher?
Spoilers, not long.
Okay.
Not long at all.
Yeah, figured.
Yeah. Very cool.
Right, well, Grand Theft Auto Online is my fourth game.
Yeah.
Jay,
Mm.
what's your fourth game?
Well, I think Red Dead was your fourth, right?
Red Dead was my fourth, yeah.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
same as Marty.
You want me to do my fourth and then you can do your fifth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. My fourth to act as sort of a foil to Super Mario Brothers and to show a very clear through line in the evolution of the medium, even though I'm not sure I like this Mario game, is Mario Odyssey.
You picked two Mario games. You used up two of your slots on Mario.
I use it on two Mario games that wouldn't even be, I think, in my top 7 Mario games.
You used
I
up
think-
40% of your
I
full
think-
list.
In order to understand the arc, in order to understand how something evolved from point A to point B, I think having Mario Odyssey side by side in this syllabus with Super Mario Brothers, I think does a great job of showing the evolution of core ideas and concepts from the mid '80s to the late teens.
Hmm.
I agree. I'm just shocked. I'm in shock.
What that I don't like Mario Odyssey.
That
don't like
and
his
also
hat.
that you've got a second Mario game.
I don't like his
on the
hat. I
list.
got 0 Zelda games. I got 0 Persona games.
That's actually
I got 0
wild.
Final Fat Nasties on here.
Holy
know.
shit.
I was thinking maybe there should be some JRPG presence, but I couldn't find a spot for it on my list.
Fake ass weebs. That's the problem. Fake ass weebs.
I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is your fifth and final entry in your syllabus?
Okay. Well, I guess as we're trying to hit all the different spokes on the big gaming star, and this is pretty distant from all the rest of them. I went with Civilization. Although I'm not a big Civilization player, so I wouldn't say which of the Civilization games would be the best one. So I leave that to the people who actually like Civilization. I've only really played the first one on my Amiga back in the day. But if you want to appreciate different gameplay types, it's like the classic, the ultimate strategy game, like the original strategy game. It's the original strategy stroke, management game. And it can also teach you a lot about human civilization and what the specific human beings who make video games consider the most important parts of human civilization that appear in a sort of heavily summarized version of it.
Yeah, and war and
Yes,
conflict
war.
and how to deal with it and different ways to overcome that. And honestly, I like that better than I picked Battlefield 4 was my representation of what conflict and war can be like. I think Civilization is a better pick. By the way, Civ 5 Goated.
Civ 5.
That's the game.
Well, Civ 7's coming out soon.
Oh my
I
god,
like the
I'm looking
fact-
forward to it.
I like the fact that you're like, chat, is there a general consensus? And you're like, yeah, it sure is. Civ 3, Civ 4, Civ 5, or Civ 6. Sounds like there's not a general consensus on which
No.
the best is.
Quite. What was wrong with 2?
Yeah.
No, nobody likes 2?
Hey,
Old,
they
dusty.
skipped it.
Get those dusty
It was
games
like-
out of here.
It was like Goat Sim. They just skipped it.
Fair enough. Well, I suppose I guess my pick is pretty self-explanatory. Jay,
Mhm.
what's your number 5?
My number 5. All right, I want to see. No, I'm not going to make you guess. My pick is something that I wanted to represent taking what would be considered mundane and making it fun. So I've picked Stardew Valley.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have first-hand witness, not just from myself, but giving Stardew Valley as a gift to multiple friends, seeing how that has consumed people. I watched somebody play that for 24 hours straight once, and then they deleted it from their account because they thought it was too dangerous. It does an amazing job of distilling what would be considered mundane tasks in real life into fun bite-sized chunks where there's really satisfying loops in the game where you can earn cash. It's freeform, so you can do what you want and pursue relationships and different goals. I think it does an amazing job.
It summarizes the human condition. Get married,
It really does.
squirt out 2 kids, basically you're done. Just sit around and water your
Squat out
the rest
kids,
of your life.
farm optional.
Yeah. Easy peasy. It also, again, a good example like Return of the Obra Dinn of the scalability of the thousands of people who worked on Red Dead Redemption 2 versus the concerned ape who worked on. Sounds like that was like an insult.
Yeah.
Yeah, me calling.
No,
him
every time you say concerned ape, I think it's an NFT.
Yeah, it was pre. He was
Debate
aping
regrets
before
that
the
name.
apes. He was
Yeah,
pre-aping.
that's not fair on him. I get that.
Pre-aping.
Yeah,
I just think of him as Eric Barone, the human being.
yeah,
Yeah.
and not the concerned ape.
Yeah.
For my final pick, and again, this is not. This is proof that I am not choosing games I like, more so games that I think would be important, is Fortnite. I think Fortnite says a lot about what this turned into, for better or for worse. Says a lot about its relationship with the rest of popular culture in terms of premiering movie trailers in here, airing live concerts in here, the vast swath of movies, TV shows, comics, characters that have appeared in this game.
Yeah.
I think it is important in the same way, like, I don't know, if you have to watch like no, I'm not going to say it's important like Triumph of the Will was an important movie, but it's important to like know, even if you don't like the things, it is important to know about these in order to understand what this.
So
like
that's your
sport for
GTA
me, right?
Online.
That's
Yeah.
the equivalent of my GTA Online. Yeah, this is the only. Yeah. And I'm
Like
putting the full
sport.
list in the chats for people who
Nice.
might have
For-
come late.
All right.
For me, it's like sport, right? For Fortnite, you can not like it, but understand why it's important to culture and why people dig it, right?
And yeah, looking at this, I feel like even if we combine our 3 lists, we are definitely missing a role-playing game. We don't have any role-playing game, Western or Japanese. We have no sports games. We have no racing.
I mean, Red
games.
Dead 2 is an RPG, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I think
not
I mean more like
really.
turn-based combat. I mean,
I wouldn't
it's an
say
RPG
it was
in the
an
same
Breath of
way.
the
I wouldn't call
Like,
Red Dead
you're
Redemption
playing
2
a
an
role.
RPG. I wouldn't call it an RPG just because I started out the game using one gun and ended the game using pretty much the same gun.
Yeah.
RPG means character
Okay,
development to me.
now we're getting into like, we weren't necessarily picking for genre in every pick here.
No, I
which is
haven't.
interesting.
No, I haven't got
Because
any RPGs
genres are
on my
nebulous
list.
and don't mean fuck all. Because what the fuck am's an RPG? Because you're playing a role in every fucking game, right?
Yeah,
Are we talking about how
I
you
feel like you're being
progress?
pedantic. If I say
system?
RPG, people know what RPG means. People know like what is in it. It's the porno argument. The porno argument.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
That being,
also-
I can't say what porn is, but I know it when I see it.
Yeah.
yeah, but I still think Red Dead, even though it's got guns, you are playing a role and it is an RPG. You are just because it's not,
It's not an
Not a
RPG in the way Baldur's Gate 3 is an RPG.
Yeah. Well, the way Persona's an RPG.
No, that's true. That's true for sure.
So to summarize, my list in the order I originally wrote them down: Halo, Civilization, Mario Brothers 3, Return of the Obra Dinn, Grand Theft Auto Online.
Cool.
But as I said, I after you said Stardew Valley, I was like, oh shit, I should have had something like that. I should have had something like Spiritfarer. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing that really sums up JRPGs here for me either, which is a huge aspect of.
All right, you heard it here first, guys. Both Marty and Yahtzee think RPGs, especially JRPGs, are not important to gaming history.
I think they're bad, and I think if you like them, you're a little pervert. That's what I think.
But I haven't got anything that represents like hack and slash either, like Your Devil May Cry or something like that.
None of us have a Souls game on here or a FromSoft title.
Oh, blimey, there's so much. You just can't sum everything up in 5 games. Sorry.
Mine changed it like as we were in the pre-roll before we came on this. My story-driven one was The Last of Us. And then Jess went, I'm really surprised you don't have Red Dead on there. And I was like, holy fucking shit, Red Dead 2. I'm changing that and switched it because these are constantly going to switch. But just like education, it will switch and morph depending on what the aliens need,
Well, when we refer this as a syllabus, how long a semester are we working with here? Because I feel like we could sprinkle a few more in. If you gave me 10, I could probably cover all the bases.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Can they process information?
Jay, so what were your 5 again? And then were there any other sort of like honorable mentions or games that you?
Mine were Mario Bros. To introduce them, Stardew Valley, Battlefield 4, Breath of the Wild, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Honorable mentions would be, for me, is anything that communicates the human condition. Stardew Valley, I think, communicates the human condition in its own unique way. The same for Red Dead Redemption 2. Some of the other ones that introduce the gameplay systems like Breath of the Wild and Mario Bros. And stuff like that, we're not really learning a lot about how Italians function in society through Mario Bros. But, you have, just like with any education, you're introducing specific themes and systems for each lesson, right? So they're all for different things.
If we're expanding the list a bit, if I was going to sort of represent JRPG world, I would go for, and get ready to have your socks blown off, Final Fantasy 9.
Wow! Oh, Vivi! Shouts to Vivi.
Why?
That's a great game.
Well, I was going to say Final Fantasy 7, but honestly, my favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy 6. I wanted to have something that felt more like it represented both the newer wave of fully 3D JRPGs and the classic older Dragon Quest, original Final Fantasy, more sort of straight classic medieval fantasy sort of vibe. And Final Fantasy 9 also represents the sheer breadth of imagination that goes into the JRPG genre.
So Vivi is such a good little dude. He's such a good little dude.
He is quite the dude, that Vivi.
The boy. So it does a good job of. One sec, Marty. It's like, would you say it introduces like just the concept and the stylings and the function of a JRPG in a quite a holistic way through?
I'd say so. Yeah, more than 7.
It also. I'd say close to 7, but it was like Final Fantasy almost doing one last victory lap of what it was originally. Like this very much, like even to specific names and plot points and stuff, feels almost like it's in conversation with Final Fantasy 1 before Final Fantasy 10 came through and they kind of just changed everything, right? Like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Look at me. Look how high I can count. They all feel very different from what the beginning of the medium was. And then, so my 5 again were Super Mario Brothers, the original one, Portal, Red Dead 2, Mario Odyssey, and Fortnite. And my the honorable mentions, aside from Breath of the Wild, were Eco, just because I think that game is like genuinely beautiful in a way that very few games are, in a very unique way. Metal Gear Solid 3, because I feel like an alien needs to know that Hideo Kojima was alive.
Sorry,
during-
Eric just put fucking Echo the dolphin on the screen.
Echo the dolphin.
Tycho.
Echo the dolphin. He knows what's going on. And I had Journey on there in terms of A, indie games, and B, sort of the multiplayer that's incredibly sweet and wholesome and altruistic. And then because I want to see their fucking eyes blown out of their heads, Res VR. I want to strap a VR headset. I want to put that haptic feedback suit that fucking rumbles in your body. And I want them to I want to show them what Earth is all about.
Oh
I
my
want to show them a real good time.
Then their little heads explode, and it'll be like in Michael Crichton's Sphere. They're like, clearly video games are a weapon designed to kill us. And just because they don't quite understand the mindset of the people who designed it.
Exactly. This was a good exercise. I enjoyed this exercise.
I think so, yes. I mean,
great.
it's just like Aliens, but also what games would you put in a time capsule to be uncovered in like 200 years' time?
Sure. And I feel like there's arguments you can make. Like there's no right or wrong answer to these.
Yeah.
So I feel like none of our games felt too egregious. I like to think.
I think
I'd like to do this again next week, but with the Desert Island Discs format, where we have to pick the 5 games we would have to play for the rest of our lives if we were going to a Desert Island forever.
Yeah,
I like
dude,
that.
I'm keen
love
for
that.
that. I also really liked both of your answers because I was pretty solid in my foundation for my answers, but you guys would come out with games and I'd be like, well, yeah, that's so fucking obvious. Why didn't I think of that? Like, that is perfect, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of avenues you can go down.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that would provoke that because games are so nuanced and widespread and all over the place.
Of course.
Like, what about Half-Life? That's like the birth of narrative storytelling
I was
in
going to
shooters.
try to do that smuggle with Orange Box. I was going to try to smuggle Orange Box
Oh, the
into
smug.
this thing because that give us the
can't do-
Half-Lives and
Your compilations don't count.
that's how I said I was trying to smuggle. I didn't smuggle. I chose not to smuggle, but I do like a smuggle.
Well, let's hear what the Super Chats have to say on this matter. Starting with Fox D, who gives $10 and says, my view of games is as a purely mechanical rather than artistic medium. As such, American Truck Simulator, Civilization 4, Stardew Valley, Rome Total War, and RimWorld.
Guys, is this a safe place for me to say I don't know what RimWorld is? Like I've read its name a bunch and I've Googled it several times and I always look at it and it looks kind of scary. And
RimWorld is sort of slightly less obtuse Dwarf Fortress.
Okay.
Yeah. Colony sim management. Very, very weird shit can happen.
It's a story. It's a story generator in the Dwarf Fortress model. Funny things happen, and you name one of your little men after someone you hate in real life, and then laugh as horrible things happen to them.
Oh no!
Nidarom gives $5 and says, Yahtzee loved the VR video. The part where you said shut the fuck up to third-person VR games gave me a good laugh. What are your thoughts on Moss and Moss 2? I think I played the first Moss. I don't think I played Moss 2. And I remember thinking that anything that is part of the reason I said in that video that anything that's not first-person will kind of get chucked out in the VR world is that you can certainly have like a grand strategy game or a platform game where you're like a observer with a character that you're controlling in front of you. But the question is, does VR really enhance that experience?
Yeah.
Would VR ever really be essential to that? And I would say no.
It's it's interesting that in terms of other 3D platformers that have been in VR, the original Astro game was Astro's Adventure or whatever, Astro Rescue Mission. And then it went non-VR, and then its second installment got Game of the Year last year. So that shows like, the Astro thing can absolutely work not in VR, whereas like I feel like Moss could as well. I almost said Mouse. That's the
100%.
one.
They 100% could.
Yeah.
I do like literalizing. I like his big ears.
Moss just sort of literalizes the basic premise of video games is that you are an omniscient overseer assisting a little person going through the levels.
I think the easiest way to get me to like a game is if you just put like a good little dude in it.
You like a weird little dude?
I like a weird little dude, and I like that dude to be good. Like that Moss is a good little dude.
Yeah, if you put a little dude in there like pervy,
yeah,
get out of here.
I'm
not going in the
gonna
time
be. My
capsule.
next video essay is gonna be top 5 best little dudes.
Well, Mario, obviously. Then Mario again, because we know how Marty likes to fill.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. He's a good
Marty
little
of-
dude, to be honest. He's like a great little
Marty
dude.
avoids all mushrooms at all costs. He wants to stay little dude. He
I
cannot
like
be
keeping
medium
him when
dude.
he's a little dude. The fucking Katamari. You're a great little dude in that game.
He is, yeah.
Rolling a big old ball.
BS Marsh gives $5 and says, consider this a donation for Yahtzee's aspirin and antacid fund, and a huge congrats to Jermaine for the Ludo stream. Yes, I hear Ludo's on her way.
Yes,
think BS
she is going
Marsh-
to be here.
I think BS Marsh must have watched my Kingdom Hearts video, because I very deliberately placed some old pill bottles I had lying around in the shot.
A large
course of
spider.
that video.
Gotta replace him.
Yes.
With the Ludo stream, just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who showed up yesterday for the Ludo stream. We smashed the goal in an hour and a half. And we
Nice.
got like a huge amount. We raised like close to like $3,700. So
Possible.
she's
Just
going to
yet.
be here tomorrow. So I'm
Oh,
beyond
nice.
excited.
So yeah, that's how you motivate the donators with cute little dogs. Hey,
You learn the dogs.
I'd like it on record that if we don't reach our January goal, as displayed at the top there, I'm not going to feed Toffee for the entire month of February. He's just going to have to scrounge on discarded crusts like he usually does.
He'll scrounge on you, dude. We'll start a Windbreaker next week, and you'll be a bag of bones, and Toffee will be full.
Just eaten by Toffee.
Yeah, I guess he's got a dark streak. At least his the towel he rubs his bum on does. Hey!
Hey, oh, you beat me to it, you bastard.
Tsunami Dusha gives $20
Incredible.
and says nothing, as is his wont.
Incredible.
And then Fox D gives $5 and says, much like Citizen Kane, you can't truly understand comedy until you've seen Duck Soup and The Night at the Opera. The Marx Brothers beat Orson Welles. Oh, piss off. Fucking traditionalist scum. I understand comedy, and I haven't seen any of those. Hey, shit. I watched The Naked Gun 2.5 on VHS growing up, like over and
What
over
about
again.
33 and a third? What do you feel about 33 and a third?
It's not quite as good as 2.5. And I think
was
the
on-
original was probably better than both of them.
That was one of the frames last week. Framed as the movie version of Guess the Game, and I got so mad because I guessed every other fucking Naked Gun except for 33 and a third. I was just
Dude,
fucking.
I would
livid.
absolutely kill at that game. I'm gonna open that right now.
Play Framed. It's great.
I agree with a review I once read that said the Naked Gun 1 and the Naked Gun 2.5 are must-see, like, essential comedy classics. And the Naked Gun 33 and the third is merely very, very funny.
What if gun to your head? Naked Gun or Airplane?
Naked Gun all the time.
Oh, wow.
I want to
I feel like
centralize.
I was leaning
I wanna-
towards Airplane.
Yeah.
I want Leslie Nielsen fucking centralized.
So what do you mean centralized?
I want in a civilization deadpan talent there.
Truly.
And amazingly, he was originally in serious films. He was in like Forbidden Planet as like a serious like leading man, and then he was cast in Airplane because he was like considered a serious actor. And then
Zucker Brothers.
everyone realized what an incredibly natural deadpan performer he was. Charlie Gomes gives $10 and says, so sad to hear about the root trees. The sisters were huge idols as a kid. Can we expect an FR? Referring, of course, to The Root Trees Are Dead, a new deductive Oberdin style puzzle game.
Yeah,
that's
it's on
out.
my wish list.
I've played it a bit in my spare time. I don't think it's FR material. It's more like curling up at the end of the day with a nice cup of tea material for me. I'm not as excited about it as I was about Oberdin. Oberdin's also like a great seafaring adventure.
Yeah. Would you
Maybe
recommend?
Yahtzee tries?
We did it on Yahtzee Tries last week.
Wednesday.
Oh, was it last week?
Yeah. And yeah, it's fun. If you like Return of the Oberdin style puzzles, it's fun.
I'll pick it up.
It's like the intersection between Oberdin and Hypnospace Outlaw, if you remember that.
I love Hypnospace Outlaw.
Haven't played that.
Tommy Salty, member for 14 months in Tip Jar. And then Sussy Guru 2000 gives €5 and says, what bad games would you add? Interesting question, because of course we learn far more from failure than success. Daikatana.
Sonic 06.
That's good.
Okay, I guess we're just naming a title with no further elaboration. Marty, go.
I mean, I think Fortnite might be bad. it's on my list.
He's done it, boys.
Like dangerous games. I don't like what bad in the way like what is like watching The Room is like you can learn about like the cinematic experience from The Room. Like what game can you actually like
Well, you can learn a lot from bad game design. Like you can learn from Symphony of the Night how not to design a heads-up display.
True, a whole goddamn video about it.
It is bad.
I know. We'll just say Fortnite. You can just say Fortnite.
I'll just say Fortnite. We're just saying Fortnite.
Okay.
Half-Life 1. That game's boring. Half-Life 1.
Shut up. Die.
Oh no!
You know what I did over the weekend? I had some time to kill. And I'd like just been playing like Black Mesa with the devs. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to play Black Mesa again. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play on easy mode. And if I ever die, I'm going to quit the game. Iron Man run. Leave my save.
So
love it. How far did you get?
Oh, I'm still playing. I'm still working on it.
He's still going?
But you haven't died?
Well, I don't have that much free time over the weekend. So I've only gotten as far as... Where am I?
The main menu.
I'm at... I've just finished Blast Pit. So I just, like, killed the giant tentacles. And I'm on my way to power up.
There we go.
So I might get like somewhere emblematic out of it. But it really does enhance the experience knowing that if you die...
Hardcore runs, man, they are nerve-wracking. They're really good.
But I wanted to pick a game I'm very familiar with and confident that I could get through without dying. That's why I'm playing on easy mode.
Diablo hardcore modes have some really fun memories of that. So good.
Sovereign gives €10 and says, I nominate Tetris. Why? Because it's Tetris, that's why. Also, congrats again to Jermaine for the successful Ludothon. Tetris, eh? Yes.
Yeah,
it's certainly the original Zone Out game.
Yeah.
But what does it teach?
I guess it could teach how relatively simplistic a game can be while still including depth. We can marry the ideas and do Tetris Effect in VR using the haptic suit so that we could also kill the aliens at the same time while showing them Tetris.
This is how we start the war, Marty.
This is how we start the war.
Oh my god.
Corvus Vocatio gives $5 and says, should at least one live service go on the list, judging by how many there are these days? Well, that was my thinking behind GTA Online and Marty's Fortnite example.
Yeah. I feel like you can't tell the story of the past 10 years of video games without mentioning live service.
Right. Although most of them probably won't be playable in 10 years, so that's the paradox there.
Incredibly ironic, yeah.
Mikhail Manfredo gives $1.99 and says, Yo, Daddy Crowshaw, when we getting face reveal?
What?
Here it is.
Aww.
This is the real one.
So handsome.
Unless you're referring to the face reveal of my kids, in which case, never.
Good.
I think one time they came on while I was in like a staff meeting, Zoom call. But they're never coming on for a public thing. That's just weird.
And you pulled a gun out and you threatened all of us. You threatened our lives if we ever described their faces.
We had to sign those documents, right?
Yeah.
Yes. You must never divulge their beautiful, beautiful little pixie faces.
Aww.
Alex Armstrong gives $5. Says, since Mario is the gold standard for all of gaming, SM64 for sandbox, kart for racing, party for mini games, tennis for sports, Paper Mario for RPGs.
Well, all right, Marty.
I mean,
there you go.
I super chatted with my alt. I mean, you could. Like, you could pick 5 Mario games, Mario adjacent games that would do a decent job of telling the story of video games.
Yeah, Mario teaches typing.
Basketball.
You can put in there as well.
Mario basketball, Mario teaches typing. Yeah.
SM64 sandbox, really? I don't think that technically we don't have a Mario open world yet. I think inevitably there's going to be one at some point, but I think Odyssey would be closer to the closest thing to a Mario sandbox.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, 64 felt like a sandbox, right? In retrospect,
guess.
it's a very small sandbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when it comes
But
to
also,
Tentpole Mario, there's like two flavors. You have the Mario Galaxy flavor, which is just sequence of constructed challenges, and you have the Mario 64 stroke Mario Sunshine flavor, which is placed into basically a hub world, and you explore it looking for hidden stars all over the place.
Yeah.
What do you prefer, both of you?
I guess I prefer the hub thing, because I was replaying like 3D Marios with my daughter because she liked watching me play them, and I played a bit of Mario Galaxy 2 when they brought out the 3D All Stars. But honestly, I didn't like it as much as when I was playing Mario Odyssey for her to look at.
I think, yeah, when it comes to 3D Mario, I mean 2D Mario obviously is all kind of linear, with I guess some optional things. I do like the optionality in like Mario World of being able to have secret exits, but
Super Mario 3D World would be another example of the linear style,
which is interesting because my hot take is I think the best 3D Mario is Bowser's Fury, which I don't know if that counts as a game, but I also do quite agree with you, Yachts, which you'll be going in depth on possibly soon about that acting as a framework for I think what Mario is going to be going forward.
It had sort of stealth pilot vibes, Bowser's Fury, because it's like a mini open world Mario game, much in the way Sonic Frontiers is open world take on Sonic, which sort of proves the concept of the open world classic platformer.
Should Sega be arrested for making Shadow Generations, which is just Bowser's Fury?
That was the point I made when I reviewed Shadow Generations. Yes,
you nailed it on the head. Should Sega just be arrested? Full stop.
Did we double Yuji Naka's jail time? I know he didn't have anything to do with this game, but just stick him in there for a little while longer.
Yes,
there you go.
This is for Sonic.
Peter Parker SL gives $5 and says, if this topic is what games to show aliens, I'd be the one to doom the planet by showing them destroy all humans.
Oh, no. This is what you can do to us. It's very easy to take us over.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what level of technology these aliens have got.
Sure.
I mean, could be they've... I mean, I guess we assume they have FTL travel, but then again, it could be like a generation ship of aliens. They've only just more advanced than us.
Or maybe they get out and it turns out they're like allergic to water or whatever the fuck science was about.
Well, yeah, why the fuck do you land on this planet then? That'd be like us landing on a planet that's like 2/3 poisonous acid, where the dominant life form can spit poisonous acid, drinks poisonous acid, sweats poisonous acid, and likes poisonous acid so much we plummet into our homes on like an industrial scale. I don't think that would... I would look at that and think that's probably not a planet for me.
And thank God my daughter has OCD and just leaves cups of poisonous acid around the house to be knocked over.
Yeah.
I'm like, Shovelon, you've done it again.
Oh my God, he's a goat.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, would you guys even vote in one Sonic game at all? Just the one?
I think if I had 50 games, I don't think I would vote in a Sonic game. Not out of like me, not like there's some Sonic games I like. I just don't think any of the games are like that important.
I think for every Sonic game, you could nominate an alternative game that's better, that like covers the same themes.
And again, I like Big the Cat because he's a weird little dude.
He's a weird big dude. Big's in his fucking head.
Little. You don't have to be little to be a weird little dude.
Okay.
You do have to be weird.
I need this video.
You also don't have to be a dude to be a weird
definition.
little dude.
I didn't understand dad games. I now understand it through Yahtzee, and now I need to understand the definition of little dude, please.
No, it's just a weird. It's like porno. You know it when you see it.
You
weird
know
little dudes are like porno. Just Google weird little dude porno, and everything will be fine.
And everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sorry, lost my place. Snake in the Garden gives €2 and says, Katamari is ashamed of you, Marty. See, I wouldn't put that in as representative of all video games, but I might consider it for my Desert Island Discs video games.
If we do Desert Island Discs ever, I think a Katamari game would be on mine, because I play it when I'm sad. And I feel like if I'm on that desert island, I'm probably going to be sad quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'd be very sad if it was Katamari 1 and not We Love Katamari. My pick would be We Love Katamari.
You know what I played recently? I bought it. This is the only way to play it, is PlayStation 3's Katamari Forever. You ever play that one?
I don't think I played that one. Is it any good?
Pretty good, yeah. Probably not as good as We Love Katamari. That's kind of a goat, but Katamari Forever, pretty good.
Yeah, We Love Katamari is basically Katamari 1, but with more stuff, and therefore rendering Katamari 1 obsolete.
Sure.
For me, Katamari is the game. So we've just had a long, hard day of teaching these aliens, right? We've gone through all of our lessons, teaching them the syllabus, and they've all gone home for the day. They've been picked up by the parents, but there's some kids who are waiting for their parents because they got tricky space jobs. So they have to stay behind at school. So what you do is you bust out Katamari, and it's the treat for the kids who have to stay back, and you blow their fucking minds because they've been playing Red Dead, right, riding the horses, being a bit bored. Then you bust out Katamari, and their brains are fried. And
This is the real shit. This is the real shit right here.
Yeah.
Also, technically, if they are just being introduced to the humanity and Earth as a whole, you can learn about a lot of different objects in Katamari.
True.
Katamari's got so many different objects. You can roll up all the countries. We're gonna teach them all the countries. What other game's gonna teach them all the countries?
Katamari should have been on the syllabus.
Fungus Finder gives $2. It says, I vote for Spore. That's like 15 games in one. 15 really bad
gonna
games,
say
Fungus
Spore.
Finder.
Yeah, 15 not so great games. That's pretty good, Goof Eric. I like that. Also, Fungus Finder, you can't vote Spore. That's in your name. That's a little mushroom.
Yeah. I was trying to think of how to make a joke out of that.
Yeah. I never actually played Spore. Was Spore any good?
No.
Real good.
I don't think you're missing much by not playing it.
It's another one of those games that was released, and it did a lot. It was kind of revolutionary at the time. It was very.
Even at the time I was dismissive of it because all its different chapters are basically just another game that you could just play the original game that it's based on.
That's true.
The starting mode,
getting the creatures together.
For the starting mode, just play Asteroids, and then for the next bit, play what's that? Like Tokyo Jungle. There you go. Play Tokyo Jungle.
Oh my god, I would love it. Yeah, that sounds great.
You'd like this, Marty. I think you'd dig it.
I will say it's very impressive that the animation engine can figure out how to make your character walk, no matter what horrible bodies you give them.
That's what I mean by it being revolutionary in the sense of giving the player the freedom to create their own species from an amoeba to conquering the planet. Right? It does go through all those games. It does become effectively a baby's first civilization towards the end. I think it did do a lot. Why isn't there another one? Why haven't they made more of those? I think an indie dev
failed. Because it failed horribly, as I recall.
Did it flop?
Yep.
Damn, shame.
Alex Armstrong gives $5. It says, on your SR on VR, can cooking games do well in VR too? Also, does this mean you finally admit motion controls don't cancel out the immersion of VR? Okay, first of all, cooking games, if you think it's that important. I never considered cooking games an essential genre, but fine, yeah. But, okay, motion controls don't cancel out the immersion of VR as long as the gameplay is restricted to a specific group of playstyles, which I listed in the video. It's like punching things, using one-handed guns, climbing things, or hitting things with a stick, as in Beat Saber. Anything else, like using a two-handed gun, that kills my immersion instantly, because I know all the time I'm doing it, my controllers are not connected. I feel like I'm miming again. But a one-handed gun, that's fine. Fully immersed. Point, shoot, bang. Don't mess with me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I learned playing VR why it's not a good idea to dual wield. I tried dual wielding in Boneworks because it made me feel badass, just pull two guns out and go bah, 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 and John Woo. Turns out they have sights on guns for a reason, and you can't aim down two sets of sights at the same time.
Like this. Oh, fuck.
Are you telling action movies lied to me?
Afraid so, yeah.
And also, how are you going to reload? Just holster one of them, reload it, holster that one, and get the other one out, and then reload that.
You'll notice in a first-person shooter, when you reload dual-handed weapons, they sort of drop the guns to slightly below your visual range, and then you just sort of fiddle around with them for a bit, so that they can scoot around the whole logistics of reloading dual-wielded pistols.
I feel like if I'm playing a VR cooking game, why am I not just cooking?
Well, that's a good question. That's
at the end of it, you get a meal.
Why am I playing Stardew Valley where I can just get a farm and a wife?
That's different.
I mean,
You're never gonna get a wife. You're gonna die alone. cooking.
You had like if you had like smell-o-vision technology, that might enhance a cooking game. But then you just want to eat it, what you'd cooked. You say, why could now I really want to eat this, but I can't.
Man eats Oculus controllers, dies thinking it's gyozas.
Florida man eats VR controllers, news at 11. Witticism gives $5 and says, no Tetris. That one feels necessary to me. Seems like the obvious pick for microgames, stroke arcade games. Well, as we said, there's still so many bases you can't touch with just 5 picks.
Also, everyone keep in mind that when you make lists on this, we are different human beings than you are, and so our lists are different. I know sometimes it might seem like we're all the same human being. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to blow your goddamn socks off. We're different humans.
So everyone's list has Red Dead Redemption 2, apparently, except mine.
And a couple of Mario games cutting it up.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Hjorth87 gives 50 Danish kroner and says, Yahtzee, try looking up Havets Herre, older Scandinavian pirates stroke naval game, Kaptajn Kajpa 1 Kattegat, if you want to go really pixel retro. Hi from Denmark. Well, the problem there is I don't speak Danish. Hjorth87.
Havets here.
Let me know if there's English translation, I guess.
What is this?
Oh, we got it
Havets
here.
Here.
Is it similar to when you were talking about your Oregon Trail adjacent game, like navigating across?
Maybe.
What was it called? Like Columbus Party?
I can't remember what it was called. The teachers just sat you in front of it and said, now fucking learn something.
Columbus Party. Columbus Party 64.
I'd play that.
The Brain Sturgeon gives €6. Says, what do you get when you put a bunch of clowns or video game execs on public transport? A silly bus. Did you know bus is short for omnibus?
Get the fuck out of here! Like a bus, I take down the street.
A collection of things.
Yes, the original name for bus was an omnibus, and it got shortened to bus.
So like a people omnibus.
Yeah.
When they call it a pomnibus, that's got a ring to it.
Did you know the plural of bus is bussy?
It is not that.
Look it up. Google it. Right after
Bus
you Google weird little dudes.
Weird little dudes Weird little dudes on a bus eye.
Aaron Ducker gives $5 says, Jay and Yahtzee, I'm going to Britain for the first time for the Blackpool Magic Convention. What British things should I partake in when I'm there? Ooh, seaside fish and chips. Eating it with the smell of the salt in your nostrils.
Yeah, get salt and vinegar on your chips. Get fish and chips. Maybe a jumbo sausage, mate. And also for afters, get a stick of rock.
Get a battered jumbo sausage.
Yeah, and a stick of rock for afters, mate. That's a Blackpool staple. So get a stick of rock.
I used to always get pineapple fritters at the chip shop as well.
Pineapple fritters? I never had down south. I don't think we got those. Sound good though.
It's always at this time. It's like always 65 minutes to 70 minutes into the show that we slip into the alternate dimension. Although I like the sound of this one because what was it? Deep fried saucy steak? I thought that was funny sounding. I like that one.
Okay. Well, deep fried sausage and deep fried pineapple ring should be concepts you can appreciate, Marty.
Yeah,
because it's deep fried.
yes. But that's all it is, a deep fried version of it.
Beautiful.
Hjorth87 gives 20 Danish kroner and says, showing XCOM would probably spark an awkward moment.
Yeah.
It depends what sort of aliens we're dealing with. If they are grey aliens, then yeah. Sorry.
I'm assuming they're greys. Sorry, I don't mean to use it sounds like a racial slur when I say that. Like,
it is. It's an intergalactic slur.
Yeah.
Did you guys know Watto died this weekend?
Who?
I was hearing about that on social media, and I don't know what the fuck it was blathered on about.
Yeah, rest in peace, Watto.
He
may have been a slave owner.
Is this like movie canon now? Did they bring out one of a comic book? Well, that doesn't count.
Oh, I thought the actor died, and
no. Watto the Toydarian died. So rest in power to Watto.
Who's reading Star Wars comic books?
That seems petty for Darth Vader.
I mean, the guy literally
is
enslaved
petty.
him as a child and put a like explosive neck collar on him and led to the death of his mother. So,
Well,
honestly,
I
fair.
kind of got the sense that he'd sort of moved on as a person by the time he was Darth Vader.
Well, you'd think he killed
I mean, you'd think-
the entire tribe that killed his mum. So, like, you'd think that would be enough rather than also killing Watto.
I read that more as anger at himself for it never occurring to him to go and rescue his mum now that he was an important Jedi Knight, you stupid bastard.
Yeah.
Guys, Watto is fucking dead. A small business owner on Tatooine is dead, and you're out here.
All right,
joking
it's a
about it.
business. He was a slave owner, right? He like owned slaves and also sold junk. Honestly,
he was
I
a
think he deserved it.
financier for the pod racing empire.
He was just part of the system. Everyone had slaves, and going by like Phantom Menace, he was like better to his slaves than most.
Honey,
Why aren't people
Milani?
lording up Vader like they're doing with Luigi, right? I think
Shouts
Vader's done a service to
Shouts to
humanity.
Shouts to Watto.
Well, let's not get bogged down on that. Alex Armstrong gives $5 and asks, "Did new audibles of Mogworld and Jam get uploaded? They're in my library, but says I haven't bought them. Also surprised you didn't pick Infamous 2 yet." I think like the audibles got re-released like a couple of years back because there was a kerfuffle with the publishers. So yes, that might well be the case. No, I didn't think Infamous 2 was representative, I suppose. I think if you wanted, I think the spirit of what I would want to represent there was in Grand Theft Auto Online, as in the fuck about sandbox.
Right?
Yeah. Alex Armstrong gives $2. Says, "Get Yahtzee to read all Final Fantasy lore next." Now that doesn't work because those are separate stories. The Kingdom Hearts narrative is one prolonged, extremely confusing story of one dude. See, I was thinking about what else would be good for the format of reading aloud. This, because I'm modeling this on like the Simon Whistler stuff, where he just reads aloud like a true crime story and comments on it as he goes. So I guess something like the Metal Gear Solid timeline would be a good one.
Great one. Yeah. I was gonna say Nier, the Drakengard to Nier.
Yeah, that's Nier. That would be a good one.
Watto's obituary.
Honestly, Souls, just Dark Souls.
That'd be pretty fun. Or just Elden Ring.
I'm not sure I could express the necessary contempt as I was able to summon talking about Kingdom Hearts.
Has to be something you don't like.
John Brooks gives £50 and says, "Toffee Food Fund." Oh, Toffee, you proved my point.
One
You're
more
eating
week
tonight.
of eating. Congrats, Toffee.
You're safe, Yards.
Hunter Roach gives $10 and says, "I feel like some kind of Metroidvania should be on the list, given how prevalent that style of game is in the indie sphere. Not sure which I would have started with, though. Symphony of the Night, or maybe Aria of Sorrow."
Yeah, Super Metroid.
Hollow Knight,
a lot of goodies.
I think is a
Hollow Knight's real
is
good.
a-
I've been playing
is a
this
good
Ender Magnolia game, the follow-up to Ender Lilies. And
Oh,
it's a
yes,
great
I
game.
remember Ender Lilies was kind of fun. It was sort of like playing as someone with a stand.
Yeah, you play as a character who summons little ghosties, but it definitely feels like Symphony of the Night. Doesn't feel like it has a new idea in its bones, but I'm really enjoying it.
Right.
I think a game that does have a new idea in its bones that unfortunately got the team disbanded, Prince of Persia Lost Crown. Fuck me, that game's good. I've been playing that
Yes.
on stream.
If you like that, try Ender Magnolia next. Yeah, Prince of Persia, it is a fucking disgrace.
So what was that?
Ender Magnolia.
Ender Magnolia.
Yeah, it just came out like a week ago.
As in Ender's Game, but with magnolias.
But Paul Thomas Anderson's
okay.
Magnolia.
Boom.
Cesar
Buying
Drix
it.
gives well done. Cesar Drix gives $5 and says, "I'm a locksmith," and "I'm a locksmith," referencing a gag from the original Police Squad TV series, where Frank Drebin walks into someone's office and the dude goes, "Who are you and how did you get in here?" And that super chat was the classic response that Frank Drebin offered.
That's pretty good. Do you
It
think
is good.
Kojima is a fan of those games because he named Drebin in Metal Gear Solid 4?
Yes,
Is there any
he
other
specific. Yes, that was specifically a reference to the Naked Gun because Drebin was a gun launderer.
Oh my god,
As in
get the
he-
fuck out of here. I learned something today.
Kojima, you dog.
He
You diamond
literally
dog.
made guns naked because the whole thing in that game is that guns like are sort of like palm print coded or DNA coded to the user. And his job was to take the guns that Snake picked up from the battlefield and launder them so that Snake could use them.
I think
So that was
every day I oscillate between being like, Kojima, you might be a modern genius, and Kojima, I think you're
Wait.
dumb.
Marty, you revolver oscillate.
I kind of get the sense that
Get
maybe
him.
he just looked up the phrase "naked gun" and the character of Frank Drebin came out, and so Kojima just used that without really knowing what the naked gun actually was.
It's beautiful.
Although maybe that's condescending of me to think that. Sovereign gives 50 euros and says, for toffee food. Guys, you know I was kidding, right? I mean, we'll take your money, but I'm not going to starve my dog for a month.
Dude, it works. People were dropping like 600 quid bombs on my fucking stream last night for Ludo. Like, dude, these guys come out in force for the puppies. They fucking love
people like dogs.
I guess we've learned why sports teams have mascots. Remember when we were on that ship, Jay, and it was telling us about the dog that was like the mascot for that ship?
Sugi! Oh, mate, dude. I still have it.
You still have the little stamp card.
The Sugi's World. I have the Sugi World with the stamps, dude. Me and Yachts had a great time getting our Sugi's World stamps.
Yeah, we were going around this old battleship that was like the last ship remaining after Pearl Harbor, and apparently it had like a mascot, like a little dog that just ran around and hung out with the sailors.
Oh, I love that. Is it like Siggy, like a cigarette, like a little Siggy?
Sugi.
And they made him
spelt.
Suki Stackhouse.
Yes, and they made him little like certificates to show he was like officially a naval.
Sugi, that's a good name.
The world of Sugi. And every time we would see their little stand that would have the stamps and the description of, like, they were all in spots that Sugi would like and go to frequently, and it would say a little story about them. And I would be like, Sugi's World! Like, every time we spotted it. It was actually kind of fun.
And none of the stamps had ink in them. I don't know who takes care of that place. Need to pull their fingers out.
Disgrace.
LOTR fan 193, member for 14 months in the Green Gang, says, what do you think of the Clue movie? I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Clue? That's surprising.
Really?
Yeah.
It
was like a comedy from the 80s. You were just talking about all those comedies from the 80s you like.
In Britain, it would have been called the Cluedo movie.
That's great. Tim Curry's a fucking
Tim Curry, yeah?
Yeah. It's called Cluedo in England because it's a pun on Ludo. Just to bring things back around.
Name of your dog.
That is the name of my pup. She's
Speaking of Ludo. Ludo is a famous board game because it's literally the Latin phrase for I play.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Ludo, one of Ludo's namesakes, Robert Eggers, the director of the Vivitch, Nosferatu, The Lighthouse, and The Northman, has been tapped to his next movie's a werewolf movie. The movie after that, a Labyrinth follow-up.
I am so fucking torn on that because I really like Robert Eggers, but I think it is fucking sacrilege to touch. Now that Jim Henson and David Bowie have passed, I think it's
Terry
sacrilege
Jones.
to touch it. And
you know what
Terry
he's going to
Jones,
do?
the writer.
You know what I bet his first move is going to be? He's going to spell Labyrinth wrong in the title. Just like the
It's going to be like Vivarinth.
Yes, Labyrinth. Okay, Dr. Theo gives $5 and says, my 5 would be Amnesia the Dark Descent, Far Cry 3, Undertale, Left 4 Dead 2, and The Finals. 3 unique single-player games, 1 co-op and 1 PvP game.
That's a little spooky. I guess none of us gave him anything spooky. We should have scared these aliens.
No, I considered Silent Hill 2, but then I thought I need to just pick something that summarizes a lot of things. So I went for Return of the Obra Dinn to summarize horror, storytelling, and puzzles.
Yeah.
And
I also think
could have been a good one to nab or check off a couple of boxes.
For me, our After Hours Katamari was the terrifying cosmic horror that we needed.
Don't call it After Hours Katamari. I don't like that. I don't like it.
That's what the next one's called, Katamari After
Hours. Snake in the Garden, member for 14 months in the tip jar. Thank you very much. And then Bookworm776 gives $5 and says, food for toffee, you monster. Well, $5 isn't going to go far.
No, Toffee's got more bowls. Look how many bowls Toffee has in row.
Look at all those bowls.
Blistered Soul gives £1.99. It says, I beat OG, Half-Life, and Opposing Force over Christmas. Amazing. Yes, they're good. Although I don't think finishing them over Christmas is a huge feat, because they're not that long.
Maybe they just never played and they was getting through it for the first time.
What if you do pro mode? You go prone and you just sort of wiggle your way through like a weird, like you pretend Gordon Freeman's like a weird little slug.
I'm doing a fucking caterpillar run, mate. That's what I'm doing.
You jest, but I've fucking seen those YouTube videos. Can I beat Half-Life while crouching the whole time? It turns out, no, you can't.
Do you have to like uncrouch to press a button or something?
You have to uncrouch to like jump over certain things.
There
are, because like many 90s first-person shooters, there's still jumping puzzles.
I love jumping puzzles.
Everyone agreed those were kind of shit in first-person shooters.
I love them. First-person fair.
John Brooks gives £20 and says, all for the Desert Island Disc-style game discussions. Could happily listen to the whole Second Wind team about that. Jay should nab that for dev heads as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Tina and Mikey would have very contrasting picks.
Yeah.
Tina's got such a beautiful history of games, and so does Mikey. They just have very different beginnings. Like, we spoke about this on Windbreaker a while back on how the games you played as a kid imprinted on you in the sense of bringing you forward into what you enjoy now. And Mikey and Tina had very different childhoods with games.
Yes, my very first game, Fantasy World Dizzy. That was
Fantasy World Dizzy.
A narrative action adventure game. There you go.
Have you ever done a... Oh, look at this egg. Look at this fucking egg. I don't know if he's a good little dude. He is a weird little dude.
Oh, he's a pretty good little dude.
Have you ever done a review of it? Programmatic?
No, but I once wrote an article for the print magazine Hyper, back when I lived in Australia, about Dizzy as a franchise.
You were referenced on the the Fantasy World Dizzy Wikipedia.
Really?
Or at least, yeah, you are citation number 2. I'm trying to figure out what you said.
Well, I have brought it up as a joke now and again.
In recent years, it's grown more famous due to frequent references made to it in zero punctuation video game review series as, quote, the best game ever, albeit ironically.
Yes, I'm glad someone made sure to mention that it was ironic.
Well done, whoever did that.
Dr. Theo gives $5 and says, hey, Yachts, have you heard of the Paynes Creek killings? It might scratch that detective itch Oberdin left you with. No, I haven't. Maybe I'll check it out when I've finished playing The Root Trees Are Dead. Impy gives €2 and says, what game would you use to explain human romance? Oh, easy. Me-side.
Still need to play it. Bought it.
Yes.
Still need to play it. Human romance.
Oh, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Serious answer. That's my favorite romance in video games.
With Farah? Farah and the Prince?
Yes, I did a whole extra punctuation on why it's a really good romance. See, I'm a sucker for a good romance, but there are so few good ones in video game storytelling.
Man, Prince of Persia series is really fucking good. Really, really good.
Selectively, yes. Don't play Prince of Persia 3D anytime soon. That one sucks.
Yeah, I'm talking all the way through 2 Thrones, and then it's a mixed bag after that. Some are good. Some
are... man, when Nick said something about the original Prince of Persia, and I said, "What, the pixel art Jordan Mechner rotoscoped one?" And he said, "No, the other one that was on PS2." And I was like, "That's not the original Prince of Persia." I got very
We were
mad.
in like a call the other day, and someone did that, referred to something as that old thing or something, and it was like 15 or 20 years old, and all of us actual olds just fucking melted in the sun.
Oh God!
I remember I was on a.
It was a Disney movie.
Oh, he said that old Disney movie, and it was The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It was like that old Disney movie, and we're like, what?
Oh my God! On
Hercules, that was it. They said Hercules was an old Disney movie.
Yeah. That is wild. On Prince of Persia, I remember as a kid, I went to London to visit one of my mum's friends with her when I was, and they had a TV, and I brought my PS2, and she let me rent a game, and I rented Sands of Time, And for the entire weekend, I didn't understand the concept of wall jumping. So do you know you have to wall jump up the statue to get the Dagger of Time? I couldn't get up it, and I spent the entire weekend trying to do it. And then like a few years later, I bought the game and played it myself and did it first try. But I had this horrible feeling when I got there. Like I was dreading getting to that fucking wall jump. It's imprinted on me.
No, it was weird because there's like 2 jump buttons. There's one jump button for jumping normally, and there's one for jumping up walls, running up walls.
Weirdly controlled.
Yeah. Fox D gives $5. Says Tetris is best played when angry. The one and only time I scored 200,000 points on NES Tetris, I just gotten home after getting fired from work.
You rage play Tetris?
Huh.
Listen, we all deal with anger in different ways.
I'm doing a rage through of Half-Life.
And then
at least you get to shoot things in that. Like there's something cathartic about that.
And then speaking here on the same topic, Witticism gives $2 and says, "Oh, Fooey, someone mentioned Tetris before me. Plus $2."
Tetris is a good one.
There we go.
Good game.
There you go. Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, "Yachts, would you pick any of your games, old or new?" Yeah, I pick Starstruck Vagabond, and everyone should buy it. It's really good.
And aliens would be like, damn, that's exactly what space is like. That's exactly what traveling through the cosmos is like.
This is what I imagine space to be like. Aliens, please fill in the blanks in my understanding. Sussy Guru 2000 gives €5 and says, "What smut games would you add to the list and why? Why does there have to be smut games on the list? If you want something that represents the history of porny games."
One of those ads that's like try not to come and like I bet you can't, I bet you won't be able to last 30 seconds. One of those games.
What was it?
The Miyamoto thing?
It was the Miyamoto quote. These ads keep telling me, I bet you can't last. I bet you can't like not come. He's like, I thought that was the goal.
Yeah, he's like, that is bad game design. That is bad game design.
Yeah. Leisure Suit Larry. There you go.
There we go.
Mikhail Manfredo gives $4.99 and says, "Yachts, I saw an interview recently with Ana de Armas saying she's a huge ZP and Fully Random fan and would love to meet the creator." Who the fuck's that?
She's an actress. She was in
Blade Runner. She was in Bond. Yeah, she was in Blade Runner and Bond and Knives Out. There's no way.
Oh, I don't.
She's a huge Hollywood actress.
Serious?
Get her on Fully Ramblemante. Let's go.
I think that was a lie. I'm relatively sure that was a lie.
I don't know what I'd say to someone who was really famous who knew what it was, because I don't know who the fuck they are. Although, having said that, I do remember now their first name was used as a filler in a crossword I was doing the other day. It was like blank de Armas. And I was like, I don't fucking know. So I just filled in the acrosses and think, oh, it's Anna. I would not have gotten that. Well, if that's true, I guess statistically, some people who are now famous people must have at least seen videos I've done in the past.
This is true.
I'm going to start referring to...
He died.
Oh, dear.
Fucking died.
Marty, are you still there?
Oh, wait, I am still here.
We lost you for a second there. You said you just cut out. Could you repeat what you just said?
I just said I'm going to start referring to Ana de Armas as friend of the show.
Yeah.
Good plan.
They exist, so they're friend of the show.
Mikhail Manfredo, can you link that interview so you're not? So we know you're not talking. You're not talking shit.
I would be extremely shocked.
Double Finger gives €5. It says, "Feel like The Sims should be included. It's a very non-gamer game series. Surely it says something about the darkness within the human heart." You should just show them a dollhouse.
There you go. Go wild with that.
Yeah.
Snake in the Garden gives €2. It says, "Sports game. Forget FIFA, Tony Hawk, or Jet Set Radio." But yeah, fucking sport. Well, just show them the sport. Show them a video. Give them an issue of Thrasher magazine. There you go. That
Make
sums
them
up Tony
play
Hawk.
American football. It's a game. Put them in pads and fucking chuck them in.
The aliens?
Clothesline a Gray. See how they deal with it.
Give a Gray fucking CTE, brain damage. Tony Hawk was on when I had a long list. Tony Hawk was for a little sneaky to do Tony Hawk 3 so you can introduce them to a cool soundtrack. Like I could also introduce the aliens to like Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Jet Set Radio has also got an unbelievably great soundtrack.
Oh my god, what a game!
What is it with like sports adjacent games having fucking amazing soundtracks?
They just go hard. They know how to go hard.
They do.
Well, skating games. because that's
No,
skater culture, isn't
Madden
it?
05 had like a six soundtrack.
Yeah, FIFA tends to have a lot of really good tracks on it as well.
Well, I guess you got to sucker him in somehow.
Works.
Snake in the Garden gives... Oh, done that one. The Man in Black gives $10 and says, Matt Pat of Game Theory famously gifted a copy of Undertale to the Pope as a symbolic stand against the violent video game stereotype. Did the Pope play through it, though? Did the Pope stream it? Is there somewhere we can go and we can watch the Pope stream it with his little webcam on?
Gamer Pope. Fake Gamer Pope.
Also, can't you be genocidal and violent in Undertale?
It's hard to actually get the genocide ending. Does it, when the Pope
I'm sure the
first
Pope
goes to shooter, does he have to sit in his little bulletproof box?
Pretty good goof.
Does he have to have like a virtual bulletproof box around his avatar in the game?
Pretty good.
Yeah, he turns on God mode, dude.
Oh, there you go. Well, I guess that makes sense. He's got God mode in real life.
Yeah.
I believe in Doodoo Man gives $2 and says, in my opinion, Tetris, chess, Breath of the Wild, Katamari, Mario Party, something. Chess is a weird one in the middle there. I don't think video games can take a claim to that one.
Yeah. Speaking of chess, have you guys heard of this game called King of the Bridge?
King of
Nope.
the Bridge? Nah.
It is a take on chess. It came out on Steam last year, where you are trying to cross a bridge and there's a troll. And he's like, you got to play me in chess. But it turns out the troll just has really weird rules, and you don't know any of the rules of his game of chess. And if you break them, you lose. But then you learn what the rule you broke was. And so you have this booklet where you are learning the rules and trying not to break the rules. But he will occasionally cheat. And if you can call him out on that move and say, you broke X rule, you are allowed to break the rules once.
Huh.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's only $3.
Is anyone
Yeah,
working
that's my
on?
wish list.
Is anyone working on Balatro chess, where you like buff your individual pieces and get extra points for?
I guarantee you, any form of a game is currently having a Balatro like in development.
Yeah, everyone's racing to be the first to get that one out. I'm sure.
Yes.
Balatro Yahtzee was out within the week, I think.
My God.
Dower Dodger Esquire gives $1.99 and says, "I'd show the aliens Silk Song clown face."
Oh, poor little aliens. You want to teach the aliens about disappointment. Although April 2nd. I'm putting it in stone. April 2nd. That's when we get Silk Song's release date.
Okay. Not the game itself, just the release date.
Just the release date. But maybe it's a shadow drop. There's really no way to know.
Yella, member for 11 months in the Green Gang, says, "I'm not off the bus, I'm omnibus. I'll get me coat." L-O and furthermore L.
Also, I'll get me coat is so much funnier than I'll get my coat. That's one of those words I want us to adopt. We should need to get rid of the word my, and everyone needs to say me.
And put me. I'll get me.
Well, go and live in England. That's where a lot of people do that.
Yeah, but you guys use Celsius. I don't want that. I want to stick to Fahrenheit. Everything else.
Let's not get
and every country other than the US uses
Celsius. It's
Celsius.
all about compromise. We all do Fahrenheit, and then we can change every other thing. We do fucking liters, we do kilometers, milliliters, any of those things.
Oh, yeah. I suppose you'd want us to start calling it the Gulf of America as well, then.
No, I don't care. I don't care about anything other than Fahrenheit. That's the only thing I care about.
Witticism gives $2 and says, "I'm playing Lost Crown at the moment. Almost done. Real good."
It's fucking great.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to playing this next one. You recommended Marty.
Ender Magnolia. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Blistered Soul gives £199 and says, "Yes, my first play of Half-Life. Blue Shift's next, then 2.
Oh my god.
But what about Black Mesa? When you doing that one?"
Yeah,
Think about it.
we just did a bit of the playthrough with the devs. Watch that and then go play it. Come on.
Yes. I'm gonna and bear in mind that the plot of Half-Life is never resolved. Episode 2 just ends on a cliffhanger and no more. Yes, I'm gonna put on my G-Man voice. Prepare for disappointing consequences.
Oh my
That was
God!
good.
Is the
He sounded like
G-Man
he
in the
sounded
room
like
with
a
us right
snake.
now?
Sounded very snake-like.
He sounded
Well,
like what was it? The snake boss from Elden Ring.
He hisses a lot.
Yeah.
That's the G-Man voice. He hisses a lot and
I like
puts
it.
the emphasis on weird syllables.
Love a snake.
Almost done. Gilded Ruiz gives is member for 4 months in the tip jar.
Thanks,
And then Cessadrix gives $5. There's big +1 for Payne's Creek killings. Not much polish, but damn does it scratch the detective itch.
Damn, that's
So
a double reco.
So it scratches, but it doesn't polish. Well, of all the rhythmic hand movements one could make to something, that's probably the second best one after masturbating.
I was about to say, stroke that itch.
I feel like with games like that, they have to have a really good hook for me. Otherwise, the amount of detectiving you have to do seems
like
so daunting to me that I'm just like, fuck this.
Like Oberdin's hook is the first time you go into someone's memory and there's a motherfucking kraken attacking
And you're
the
like,
ship.
I'm fucking sold. Let's go. Right?
See, that's what fucking Root
So
Trees Are Dead needs. It needs a fucking kraken.
Could you imagine? It's mod a Kraken into that game. Why do you think the root trees are dead? Because goddamn Kraken got inside.
Yeah.
Fucking Kraken got him. I solved it.
Just replace the family tree with a kraken. You just have to stick photos onto the tentacles.
Oh, sick.
Placeholder gives $5. It says, one game I would introduce is the Arkham games for their story, voice acting, and evolution of gameplay.
That's several games.
And also the combat system that like a million games would then rip off.
Also, I would tell
It's
the
a good combat
aliens that this
system.
man's real, and if you fuck with humanity, this man will fight you. And they're not going to want to fight that man.
Hell no.
Dr. Theo gives $5. Says, I tried watching Naked Gun, but I forgot the name, so I looked up Topless Gun. Got a very different movie. The porn parody of Top Gun, I assume.
Ah.
They're always a little bit tortured, the porn parody names. Like, I saw one called The Witches of Breastwick. That doesn't work if you read it out loud, does it?
No, but I still like it. I still think it's funny.
Dr. Theo gives $5 and says, I tried watching... Oh, done that one. Aitor Urabari gives 2,000 arses, and it's a deep red super chat, like the fancy red, not the starting red. Says, just catch the stream, so I've got no clue what you've been talking about, but I wanted to show my support. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves before you're forcibly conscripted for the Greenland Invasion Force. I'm sure Lieutenant General Toffee will lead you to victory. Vincere aut more. Victory, which is Latin for victory or death. Well, I won't be forcibly conscripted because I'm an immigrant, so I'll just get deported back to England. Or possibly Colombia.
Let's go, Yachts. We'll be on the same boat.
There you go. Handcuffed, apparently. That's how they do it now. Gilded Ruiz gives $2. Says, Shotgun King is a great chess-like game on Steam. Okay, is that just chess, but where they give the king a shotgun?
Yes.
All right. Well, nicely summarized.
It's called Shotgun King: The Final Checkmate.
All right then. The man in black gives $5 and says the Pope did not play Undertale. I don't think he even owns a computer. I assume someone in the Vatican owns a computer.
Fucking fake ass gamer.
He's probably busy praying, mate. That's his whole thing.
Well, he's busy praying and doing like public appearances, maybe, in his big plastic box.
I'm sure the Pope has a computer. What are you talking about?
I mean, he's not Pope 24/7, right? He's got to like retire to his quarters at night, and so he can like brush his teeth and go to bed. Sure. What does he do in his like downtime? Just like read Clive Cussler novels? He's not going to read.
He's a big Clive Cussler fan.
He's not going to read the Bible because he does that all fucking day. I'm talking about what does he do when he's not at work?
He watches Wheel of Fortune. Loves a big spin.
Aitor Arabari, welcome to Ad Free Podcasts. Thank you very much. And then Lord Robertus III, member for 2 months in Tip Jar. Thank you very much as well. And then Blistered Soul gives $4.99 and says, I know, setting myself up for disappointment and deep longing. Black Mesa worth playing off the rip or better waiting a while past my OG Half-Life playthrough? I think it's worth waiting until after you play through Half-Life 2, because if you go back to Half-Life 2 after you play Black Mesa, Half-Life 2 feels a lot more basic. Because, the environments feel a bit stripped down in retrospect.
Flat.
I mean, they blew everyone's mind when it first came out, but these days, we've got a sort of expected level of background detail in our realistic games. I hope you like random bits of trash. Half-Life 2 loves those random bits of trash.
A little bit of garbage floating across the city.
Yeah. just picking up an old Chinese takeout box and like waving it around, going, "Whoa, physics!"
You know what? Sometimes you need to pick up that can, throw it away, or throw it at a man and see what happens.
Fox Steeg is $5. It says, "High constant focus is a great outlet for rage playing. Gives that negative energy somewhere to go." Yes, I've also heard it's good to save important decision making to when you're really, really busting for a piss, because your mind is in like survival mode at that point.
Interesting. That's also like I don't like going grocery shopping when I'm super hungry. And it makes
because you just buy lots of cake.
Yeah, cake's really good. What do you think about it?
I actively try not to do that. Like I chew gum or I like have a hard sweet or something if I go to the shops because I will just buy the fucking store.
I throw up before I go to the store so that I don't want anything.
You purge.
It's just because you're part Roman, right? It's your heritage.
The vomitoriums. That's not what a vomitorium was.
Why did they call it that then?
Because it was the place where people were vomited out of the theater.
That makes more sense.
Oh my god! Check out this history nerd, guys. Boo this man.
My eldest's birthday party was over the weekend, and we bought way too large a cake than we needed, and way too much pizza than we needed. So we got a fridge full of the shit right at the moment. So you know,
I thought you said your kid's eldest birthday party was in a vomitorium.
Well, they asked, "Where do you want your party?" And they said, "A vomitorium." Like, okay, hanging out the entranceway of a theater.
No, it wasn't in a vomitorium, but it might as well have been. The amount of cake we got now.
Hell yeah!
And as the dad of the house, it's officially my job to disappear treats from the moment the kids have forgotten about them. We've still got fucking Halloween trick-or-treat bags in the cupboard that they've forgotten about that I'm slowly working my way through. Now I've got all this cake to get rid of before it all goes off.
Just save it all till next year. Reuse it for the next birthday party.
Can't. It's buttercream. That shit is a short shelf life.
Buttercream. No, I didn't like that. Regret saying that. We're done. We did it.
We did it. That's all the super chats. Yay. So just a reminder, there's a new video of me reading aloud the Kingdom Hearts story that's going down a treat with the Patreon subscribers. So if you join our Patreon at the $5 tier, you can enjoy that as well. It's fun. It's like it was like my little baby for a couple of weeks.
90 it was an idea long. I had. That's like a feature film.
And I'm really keen to see, how that goes down. Because I think there might be, mainstream appeal in this shit.
Yeah.
I am the new Simon Whistler.
How much of this do you think you will keep? Like,
okay, I remember.
Will you be able to recall any of this a week?
I remembered that Xeon is the girl who was a copy of a boy who was himself a copy of a boy.
Think about it.
I remember that part.
You like Xehanort? Are you a big Xehanort fan?
I've forgotten who Xehanort is. He's one of like 12 guys with an X in their name who's like the big baddie at one point.
Organization 13. Shouts out to him.
That. But apparently there was an Organization 13 and there was a not real Organization 13.
Yeah.
Apparently. And everyone in there had a name with an X in it. Besides that, Fully Randomatic this week is on the subject of Eternal Strands, an upcoming indie game that you might enjoy. By the what was it he done? The like the original designer for Dragon Age, or something?
Creative director of the old Dragon Age games. Yeah.
There you go. It's his new studio, and it's his first game from their new studio. So be nice. Mm-hmm. That's my Fully Randomatic this week. I've also got Yahtzee tries on that afternoon on Wednesday. I haven't quite decided what I'm playing, but we'll figure it out. That's about it from me. What else we got to plug for this week?
What you got going on, Jay?
We have a Dev Heads on Friday. I believe we have an interesting guest. I need to quickly check what it is. Well, I'll say it in the Dev Heads chat because we're trying to be more active in there. We have a very interesting guest. I just forgot their name. They have worked on many, many projects. My favorite over the years. They are a veteran.
Tony Hawk?
It is Tony Hawk.
Incredible.
Tony Hawk?
Yes.
That's a good Tony Hawk podcast, Dave.
So he's coming on. Tony Hawk. It's not Tony Hawk. But yeah, we got that. We just had a design dev of mine and just came out on Marvel Rivals. It seems to be doing pretty well, so check that out. Show it some love. And just from me, once again, just want to say thank you to everyone who showed up for the Ludophon stream and donated and hung out and showed love for Ludo. She's going to be here tomorrow. So next Windbreaker, she will be here to join in the Puppy Cam love with Toffee. So I'm very grateful to all of you. Thank you so much.
You hear that, Toffee? Your girlfriend is coming back.
Ooh la la.
Oh no, we gotta set him up. I don't like where this is going.
Toffee ain't got no bollocks. It hardly matters.
Everything's fine. In terms of other stuff going on, Hidden Gems, the normal time tonight, 6 p.m. Central. Casey, Jesse, and Jess, of course. We got a new backdrop going up tomorrow from Darren and Jesse. Firelink on Wednesday. Thursday, got a triple stream day. Liza P at the normal time. And then an hour later, Jay and I are going to be streaming a little bit of a sponsored game, Once Upon a Galaxy. So that's going to be Thursday, 3 p.m. Central. Tune in for that. And then
give us cash. Give us cash and we'll play your shit.
So it's that easy. It is that easy.
That simple.
And then, Thursday evening, Casey and I will be back. I believe we're going to be starting Super Metroid. We finished Metroid Prime 1, and I feel like they're going to shadow drop Metroid Prime 2 on Switch imminently. And so I'm trying to buy us more time, and Casey's never played Super Metroid. So I'm like, fuck it, we'll just play Super Metroid.
Wow, okay. That's
so you're going through like the canon timeline or something?
Yeah, we're kind of fucking it all up, though. It's fun. I just also really like Super Metroid. And then Unpacked, and its new time slot every Friday morning, and then obviously it won't be this week or next week, but Jay Design Delve is moving to Monday mornings. Yeah,
we're going to have a Monday Design Delve release now. It just kind of makes sense with the reformat we're doing with Unpacked. It just kind of makes sense that it would be at the end of the week. So we've just shifted Design Delve to a Monday. It's going to be a nice Monday treat for you guys.
Still in every other weeker. Still nothing else is changing about it. Just days of the week.
Yeah,
easy peasy. And then Adventures Nigh. We season 4 is approaching imminently. I believe we got the Platinum Resolve, the Level Up session, and then Hachi Machi. There we are.
Oh, yes, it's the 15th. I believe will be the first episode of the new series. But up until then, we've got a couple of bonus videos that will be popping out in the usual slot on Saturdays. First, the Platinum Resolve is the video that finally resolves what we did with all that platinum we got at the end of Season 2. Jack basically did a one-on-one with all of us, and we figured all that out.
Yeah.
I bet y'all spent it on stupid shit. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, Mortimer's plans all sort of fell apart, but I don't want to spoil too much.
There you go.
I guess that's it from us then.
Oh, we got one last super chat.
Ooh.
Oh, did we? Where?
Dorian King.
Dorian King gives 5k Canadian dollars. It says, side note, just finished Alan Wake 2. Reminded me that they do Dream Worlds well, unlike your recent video on games doing dreams poorly. Love your show. Yes, my semi-emblematic on imaginary voids in video games.
Alan Wake good.
There you go.
Remedy you good.
And that's it from us then. See you all next time. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, everyone.
Bye-bye, guys.